Hello and welcome back to Youth in Politics. I'm Justin Schmidt, and once again our guest is Democratic gubernatorial candidate Steve Rowe. Let's continue our conversation on the economy. Let's talk about, in particular, taxes and tax reform. Would you promise right here and now there will be no new taxes or tax increases under your administration?
No, I won't make that promise, Justin, and I don't think a governor should make that promise or can make that promise. I will say this. I do not intend to raise any broad-based taxes. I don't think anyone running for governor does. But you never know what the future holds. Let me give an example. Right now, we have our roads and our bridges are funded in large part by the gasoline tax. It's not working anymore. Cars are getting better mileage. A lot of cars are powered by fuel sources other than gasoline. We're seeing more and more of that. Hybrids, for example. We're going to have to find another revenue source to fund our roads and our bridges. So when you say, there'll never be a change in the tax structure, I think that's not appropriate because we're probably going to have to change some things going forward. So I'll leave it there with that. But I don't plan to raise taxes. But I do think we have to be smart, and we have to change with the times, and we have to make sure that let me give an example. We have a law that was enacted by the legislature last year, as you know, which is on the ballot on June 8th for an effort to repeal it. I'm going to vote no because I think that's a good law. Let me tell you why. We have a sales tax structure that goes back to the 1950s. It taxes mostly just goods. When times are great, a lot of people are buying new cars, refrigerators, home building supplies, and our revenues are rolling in. When times are bad, they dip. And so we've got a revenue stream like a sine wave, up and down, up and down. People say you ought to run government more like a business. Well, there you go. We need to stabilize revenues. So this new law does that. It stabilizes our tax base. It also reduces the top income tax. Our income tax is too high in Maine at 8.5%. It reduces it to 6.5%, and it also reduces the capital gains tax. These are smart changes to the tax code because they're going to attract capital investment to the state of Maine, and they're going to keep people here.
You mentioned the word stabilize the tax system. It's a way to just cover up the fact that it's a raise in the sales tax, correct?
Well, it applies the sales tax to certain services that are taxed in most all other states that have a sales tax. Let me explain that again.
Okay.
We have about a 1950 sales tax when we were largely a state of products, so we taxed a lot of products. Over the last 50 years, we've become a state that provides services, and so it's modernizing the sales tax base, recognizing what people are buying. So it's applying taxes to things that weren't taxed, but if you go to other states, most all of the states have this.
Well, in the proposal, it is raising the tax on a number of things, including candy, for instance. It's raising it on that. So for people out watching the program, to them, it's a sales tax increase while they lower the income tax. So to regular people, it just seems like you're lowering at one end, but you're increasing it on another. And a lot of politicians are saying, well, it's shifting the burden from Mainers to out-of-state individuals. So how would you answer that?
It does. It does shift some of the burden from Maine people to out-of-staters. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to export our taxes, don't you? I mean, come on. The idea here is to make life better for Maine people. And this tax proposal reduces tax on an aggregate basis for over 90% of Maine people. Now, you tell me something's wrong. I think that's a good thing.
And you don't think it'll hurt businesses by raising the taxes on certain products?
Oh, some businesses maybe squawk a little, but no, I don't think it will. I think, again, remember what I just said. It stabilizes revenues, and it adds predictability to government operations. 90% of Maine people will benefit. So it seems to me that it's a good thing. I'm going to be voting no on question 1 so that the new law can go into effect. Reasons we're seeing a lot of people leave Maine is the 8.5% income tax. One of the reasons we're seeing a lack of private capital investment in Maine is the 8.5% capital gains tax. If we lower those taxes, it'll economy. It will. I mean, all economists say this. So I think it's a good law, and I certainly hope it's able to go into effect, and our income tax will go down to 6.5%.
Okay. You say on your website that you want to provide a tax incentive to small businesses.
Yeah. Well, I'm still working on that. It probably would be something that would be a percentage of the employee withholding taxes. So it could be something like $1,500 a year, probably in the neighborhood of that for a small business.
Okay. And what other initiatives do you have in terms of trying to stimulate the economy that have to do, let's say, with healthcare reform? How do you lower costs? Because I know you talk about cost-saving initiatives all the time. What can we do in our healthcare system, particularly in Maine, whether it be Dirigo or another program, that helps to cut those costs?
Well, if you look at the cost drivers, we have one of the most expensive healthcare systems in the world right here in Maine. It's 20% of our gross state product. It's killing us. It's one of the reasons our businesses are non-competitive, or at least some are, so we've got to reduce it. Some of it's about certainly having more competition in the health insurance market, clearly. But the real problem is the way we deliver health services. We're heavy on hospital-based tests and procedures. We're light on community-based primary care. In other words, we're not focused on keeping people healthy. We're focused on treating them when they get sick. So we need to change our delivery system. So what I want to do is encourage more community-based primary care. Make sure that people have a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a physician's assistant before they go to the emergency room.
And we're going to delve into that topic when we come back on Youth and Politics. Don't touch that dial.